But yeah, anyways, let's pick up where you were leaving off.
No, no, show me this thing. I
Yeah,
was,
I
how
I don't
does it?
think
So
yeah,
last time, I think last time we recorded, you were just about to finish it, and you finished it.
yeah. Well, this is a different type of winding. Um, if I can show you, like each of these, each wire is like it's 30 gauge AWG wire, so it's very thin. So each thing is like maybe like 20 strands twisted. And the other way I was doing it was just a single strand each time. And it was like a bunch of overlapping. It was like this. That was the last time. But this time it's like twisted and then twisted, if that makes any sense. But
And you want to
yeah,
make an EMF protector on it.
yeah, I think it does help because electricity flows around copper. Like the electrons flow around the insulation kind of wire. And so something like this, it is very structured and organized, and it looks very beautiful, like a sunflower kind of. So I think it's taking these essentially like random noisy signals and kind of aligning them into something structured that looks like it's from nature and from the universe. So yeah, I'm feeling fine. Like we've been on a call previously. We talked before we were recording, and usually I'm kind of drowsy because of like the Wi-Fi router and stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah, I feel good. Yeah, it's cool.
nice.
So
Maybe
what were you talking about?
uh, BQ8. Was it when you asked me if the clients benefit from it in their personal life?
Yeah, like if there's any questions they get answered that are like of
Yeah.
substantial
Oh,
impact.
I talked about extended remote viewing, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Um,
What is
okay.
that like?
I'm gonna um let's do let's do first the extended remote viewing and then I
Okay.
answer the other one because they're anyway connected. It's this so they go into this certain state of relaxation or into the access into this deeper brainwaves. Then they get this number code and it's like a plug. I think I said this,
Okay.
like a plug, and you put it in, and then you start to receive the information, or you even there. So extended remote viewing as you lay down and you kind of travel there. It's different to controlled remote viewing where you like kind of you sit down and you write it all down
Yeah.
in a more meditative state. Or and this is where you actually kind of travel. And so I had this people coming for free because I want to play around with it. And I was bringing them into this a certain relaxed state. And I said to them, well, okay, now in front of you is a portal and you have like this number board next to it, this module. And you type in and beforehand I knew where I want to go and I connected a certain uh, um, series of numbers to this specific place I wanted to go.
Right.
I kind of said, okay, this numbers connect this place. So I let them type it into the portal, then this thing opens and they go through and they ended up in this space. And so I started playing around with it and I'm like, so how can I get really mindy people into their heart spaces? And I exactly did this. I said, okay, their personal sacred space is number so and so. And I let them go in there, and I had people there like, whoa, I don't know where you brought me, but this is amazing. It's like I never felt this way before. And it's so enormous because once I let people go into the sacred space with these numbers and they didn't know where they go, the reaction, like how they described this place, was always with like this amazement and wow and deep.
Oh my gosh.
peace, and
I'm like kind of jealous. I want to go back there.
it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so for other sessions, I let people making a list usually,
Okay.
and it's weird, most people are human and they have some problems in their life, so it's probably their personal life, their history, something with their traumas, or where they struggle right now, or
Yeah.
where they don't feel loved, or something like this. And it's for them to bring all of these things into the sessions. And then sometimes, if sometimes it just shows up, like there's somebody, uh, and it's a lot about imagery, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
kind of the blue school, or
Yeah.
heart imagery, all of these things. Um, um, We talked about the other one. What was it called? Sapphire imagery
Yeah.
from Catherine Scheinberg. So imagery here, it's kind of similar. So they become images um, from different levels of experience themselves also. And they come into the space, and all of a sudden, like from the last session, there was this plant kind of thing, and she was like in the desert somewhere, and there was this plant. And while looking on this plant, it morphed into this ball, and she got all this really awful feelings.
Wow.
And and then of course the first step is to really like feel what you feel right now, really open to it, because somebody else is with I'm in this, and I'm with you there, and I give you the kind of like the you have like this unspoken agreement that okay, now we can really work on the stuff that I don't want to see, kind of. And then they're like pulled into the ball, and they end up in this like dungeon where like a face comes out of the wall, and this face is crying and really sad, and they make peace with it, They talk
Wow.
with it, bring it out, and it really shares a lot of stuff about mother trauma and all of these things. And what was interesting, once this was healed, mostly we go into a higher dimensional space, and then we ended up somewhere on Sirius with blue beings, and one of this blue being was coming onto us as a guide, and we started asking questions to this being, and this being actually answered all of the questions. So I asked the questions then, because I have them all written down in this,
Yeah.
and they are into this deep brainwave states that don't even know that they wrote down questions, kind of.
Yeah.
But I just say, okay, ask this being this question. Um, and then I have sometimes some personal questions. Like I'm like, so what's going on right now on Earth? Or
Sure.
is Earth even real? Are we all dreaming? Something like this, just
Yeah.
for my personal interest. But most of the questions get answered. And then after the session, when we do more like an integration, um, people have mostly, not all, because sometimes they had more questions and we had to do another session or so. Um, but mostly, it has changed their mind stream in their actual experience of life. So the life, of course, didn't change, but what's changing is the quality of your mind, the quality of awareness and consciousness within you. And it doesn't matter which questions is, these blockages, they are accessed in this particular way, but they are basically mental, emotional, um, and it's a way of working with them. It's a way of also, people who cannot journey on their own. They get lost. They want to
Yeah.
go, they want to meet, I don't know, with higher dimensional beings, but alone, they get drowsy, they fall asleep. I've heard many stories, and they're really happy that they have an expanded experience, and it gives them so much strength in their spirituality, in their feeling of connectedness. Um, and of course, everybody has their own makeup in a way. Um, but even personally, me, every session I go out there and I smile, and I was like, that's so cool. You know, this
Yeah.
traveling, this journeying through consciousness. Because I seem to understand something about it, but I still have like I always come to a point where I have just no clue. It's just a big mystery, and this is
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, there was one time when I was doing a lot of mental imagery exercises,
Hmm.
and but they're so powerful. You only need like four, and you're like totally clean. But I did them before bed, and then I have the DOS discs, and I have seven of them, and I put them all on, and I like the most, like there was one time where I like fell asleep, fell asleep. I like closed my eyes with the DOS discs on right after doing all this imagery stuff. I woke up in this like super large cave, maybe. Um, you don't expect caves to be big, but I don't know why I'm talking about this, but it reminded me of this. Um, there was like all these lights,
Mm.
um, like those lights you put on the houses that are facing up toward the wall. Um, and it was so nice. I remember touching the lights, but I didn't make a shadow or anything like that. And I was like, "What is going on? There's no light source, but it looks like it's projecting on the wall." Um, and I came when I opened my eyes in that world. I was in this thing of water. It's like a rectangle, maybe. Um, and I like lifted myself up like this, out of the water, like a bathtub or something.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I want to do some more BQH, and I'd like to see their brainwaves too. That'd be exciting.
I would like to see that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have a like a laptop or some sort of computer, or are you just using iPad?
I use a laptop right now, but I
Okay,
only have it here. It's not
okay.
mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I have a very old one, like a Fujitsu Live book. Um,
Okay.
it kind of it's for writing, but I
Okay.
don't know if it can do stuff.
I can't do neurofeedback. Uh,
Maybe.
yeah, maybe. But if you want, I can. If you end up getting one, getting
Hmm.
a Muse headband, I will like send you my apps for sure. You can try them out.
Would love that. And maybe put it out there as a Christmas and birthday present together for this year or something like this. And
Yeah.
let's see if people put something together for me.
Or what was it? Program your Merkaba to manifest in the tiny space. That's incredible. You got like that driver's license
Mm.
like in a few weeks.
But they made it
Cra-
easier for me to access it because usually you have to do a lot of things. Um, and I told my brother about it. I was like, let's see how this is gonna work out.
yeah.
And he started laughing. Like, when you have like this when you're really high and you have like this kind of like how to say you have like this little this big laughter like a maniac
Yeah.
laughter, and
Yeah.
he started laughing like this and he looks at me, he was like, I don't know how many things have been rewritten right now, but I think it's gonna work out.
Of
And I
course
was
so.
like, yeah, let's see. And of course, here and there I was a little worried about it, I didn't want to stay so long. And I kind of, for me, I worked with this. I was like, oh, there you are, Barry. What's up? And then in the end, it worked out fine.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Um, so yeah, I definitely through being introduced to this high level of I don't know how to call it even, but all of this ATH things and everything that's connected to it, what we're talking about,
Yeah.
it's it brings me every year, probably every month into trust, alignment,
Yeah.
how to say, like a big faith without trying
Big faith.
to
Yes.
have like a belief or so
Yeah,
to
we
it.
got
But it's
put that
like,
on a tapestry.
yeah,
Big
faith.
faith. Remind me every day.
It's true. I I mean, what's it came with a lot of spiritual ego, a lot of like superiority for me.
Yeah,
Like,
same here,
whoa,
dude.
whoa, I have this Merkaba going on and all of these things. And I think the last 4 years, I started to decode that, to work with this, with the subtle levels of identity. And um, I found out through this inner work, and I think shadow work, for example, this is really next level, man. Like,
Yeah,
I come into states which I haven't had access before, or I needed certain things, like outer circumstances, to be in a certain way for me to feel good. Um, and it just
yeah.
changed. And there's this guy, Andrew Holocek, and he's a lot about dream yoga and
Okay.
about what you also talk, go into this consciously into this dream states or into this vision states. And um, and I tried to work with it. I said, I'm gonna lucid dream all the time. I
Yep.
wanna work with my guides um and I there's this one book from Jesse Iayani. It's called Brotherhood of the Magi. It's amazing. And they just go. There's this one guy. He every night he goes and meets his master, and they work in their dreams, like the Buddhist dream yoga people. They do the same stuff, right? They
Yeah.
consciously go from state to state. And with all the effort, I never had a lucid dream. My dreams, of course, they got more vivid and I remembered more because I was focused on it. And then at a certain point, I'm like, okay, I just let it go. It doesn't work for me. It's
Okay.
stressing me out. And it's kind of like a reverse meditation. I was just, okay, whatever. I can just, I don't need all this making it
Yeah.
proper for now. I was kind of like, okay, let's see. And I start to have here and there just random lucid dreams. And in these lucid dreams, I'm like, whoa, I'm dreaming. And I start to dissolve this whole scenario of this dream like Karate Kid, I'm like, and everything is
Wow.
dissolving. And there was this one dream a couple of weeks ago. There, I dissolve everything, like all the scenarios, all the subconscious things and I don't know what my mind wants to tell me. Uh, and I mean, by mind, I mean heart mind, right? Consciousness. And
Yeah.
uh, this guy goes up the ladder and there's like a UFO and he steps up it and he's the last person who's there. Everything else dissolved. The whole room dissolved. And I look at him and I was like, stop. And he turns around, he takes his mask off, his fake
Whoa.
teeth, and he's like, I guess the show's over then. I was like, the show's over. And then I woke up. Isn't it crazy? Like,
Wow. Yeah, dude.
and I wake up from this. And I even went to sleep without really meditating. I've been at my partner's place. She's like, "You're tired." I was like, "Yeah, let's go to sleep." And I didn't do all the effort. And then it's for me personally now, you know? And
Yeah.
then something clicks in me. And I try to find the sweet spot now because I have done a lot of things. Like I was crazy about meditation for like, I mean, the majority of the last 7 years, right? Like
Hmm.
crazy about it. You cannot imagine. Morning, like I had like timetables for it and do different things, do energy meditation and this and vipassana and and at a certain point, um, how to say, um, maybe I reached a level of awareness where I can maintain brainwave states without having to necessarily meditate a lot for it. But then
Yeah.
there's a sweet spot because becoming too drowsy or like
Yeah.
too pushing, wanting, right? And
Yeah.
I'm really about finding the sweet spot in myself, um, where when it's not spend all my time, not with, I don't know. I spend much more time with my family for sure. Or
Well, that's good.
with friends or kind of doing other things, painting or something like this.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think something like neurofeedback, it's a really nice tool where you always have like this, okay, if I really want to go deep now, and then you have this tones and the beep even. I
Yeah.
think it's just amazing. Yeah, still thinking about it. I let you
Yeah, I
know.
was actually gonna say something about that. Um, I just from talking, having this one conversation with you, I think I've realized like there's states, three states for alpha feedback. Um, there's like a clear high alpha signal,
Mm,
which is like the flute sound, right? There's the hey, I got a nice alpha sound, and then it goes down because as soon as you're like ooh yay ego like yes I'm successful, it just goes down always.
interesting.
And then there's the drowsy state, which is like kind of sleepy. It's probably like high theta, right? And but there's no alpha, but you're not like yay, you're like kind of drowsy. And I think maybe the first 10 minutes you're oscillating between the the first two, like the alpha signal, and then it's like, oh yes, good job, Connor. And then as soon as you're like conscious of that, it's like, and then a few seconds go by, and you just chill out, breathe, and it goes up, and that's like, good job, beeping, flute sound, and then you're like, yay, and then it goes down. um, and and every time, like every single time, I hear that flute sound, and I'm like, awesome, I'm doing this, and it goes down. I think that's what you were relating to as like meditating all the time and putting in like schedules and stuff like that, or like trying to do the lucid dream and you weren't getting anything, but then you just like let go, and then you were getting results, I guess, like
Hmm.
actual lucid dreaming. I guess there is a sense of like letting go and yeah, just letting go, and probably has something to do with ego and like trying to get results. There was a quote by Lahiri, the guy who made Kriya Yoga essentially, and it says, "Be inspired but don't pounce." And yeah, just be inspired but don't pounce. Like try your best, but don't like over expect, I guess, over expect results. I don't know. I just thought of that randomly. Uh, yeah, it's a good talk we're having.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really like that. I mean, it's a really big topic. Why do we do the things we do? What do we get out of them? Um, are we really searching for God, Are we really searching for higher consciousness? Are we distracting ourselves? And um, there are a lot of kind of question which are popping up the older I get, differently. Like I never thought about that years ago. I thought, yeah, of course, I'm developing. Um, and sometimes then I find, oh, actually, um, am I going into higher worlds, which of course they're amazing. But have I left something behind? Um, or am I addicted to higher states of consciousness? Something like that. But I'm like, what
Yeah.
is this weird questioning? And I'm like, oh, who's questioning that? And this kind of this proposal of this kind of reverse meditation where you like really go into like the pain and all of this. I mean, I had tons of anger connected to like the system and all of this. Not that it really changed my opinion, but it was so loaded, man. It was
Yeah.
still so loaded, and I've been traveling a lot. in the last, I don't know, I was probably, even when I was living somewhere, I was already planning to go somewhere again like this. And
Mm-hmm.
it, if I would give it like an archetype in my psyche, I would say it was like a rebellious action over and over again. Of course, I did see a lot of amazing things, and I believe it was all perfectly fine like that.
Mm-hmm.
I came to a point where I had to take this inner rebel, look at it really, and not give it so much power of my life because it was running all the
Yeah.
time. And I was so tired. And I
Yeah.
figured it was protecting too. Um, but found myself at a place where I can even stay at my parents' place for like weeks, and it's just they're just persons, you know, not trying to change them, not want them to be different, or even getting annoyed when they're like acting out their silly, I don't know, uh, what I found before very, challenging. Um,
Sure. Yeah.
These tiny things. I mean, come on, you have all this. I, I mean, I think everybody can relate. We have this extraordinary experiences. We understand ourselves at this extraordinary being is having this heightened states of experience. Our
Yeah.
mind goes everywhere. We're like, oh my God, I am the universe. And you come back home and your mom is like, so you got a job?
Yeah,
And
or
you're
like
like,
they're watching the news or
what?
something.
Like
You're
what?
like, stop watching the news. It's not
And
good.
directly you're like hardcore triggered. And you've been like,
Yeah.
I don't know, 6 months in Nepal, you're like meditating, everything's fine. You come back home, they're like, so how are you gonna make your money now? You're like,
Yeah.
what? Like
It's just
really?
so funny because it's so true.
But
Yeah.
then yeah.
Um,
It's like
I think also you were saying like the your inner rebel. That's
mm,
like it's a pretty common thing, especially with people like my age and or just in the higher consciousness zone of wanting that and like trying to rebel against the system. Um, yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's very common nowadays. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I have so many ideas and then I want to say them, but then I forget half the other ideas. You know. Yeah. I think. Oh yeah, it's Inner
just
Rebel
just
combined
give me a
with.
sec. Just give me a sec.
Oh, okay.
What was
Did you
that?
see that? Ooh,
Whopping. Wow,
welcome
that's
back.
trippy.
uh, yeah, I was just saying how like um, I think media and social media like glamorize and really push off trying to rebel against anything really. Like media thrives off polarization, except for like email, and texting, I guess. But besides that, it really thrives off like being contradictory to other other ways of thinking. And so a lot of people want to like rebel against different ways of living. That's something that I've been trying to like actively not do. It's
Mm.
like, let's see, I think Facebook is my last social media, and I use like like home feed blockers. I use it because there's marketplace to sell stuff, but besides that, I don't really use it at all, and I might deactivate it soon. And I just like using WhatsApp and Telegram, and just simple messaging apps, and also like movies, and I try to avoid those too because I feel like there's like an unspoken narrative, and I think it is somewhat conditioning our minds to be like not our true soul, you know? Like our
Mm.
soul has a natural tendency to be itself. And when we're like watching like some glamorized travel video or some 2 hour movie, it does have an effect on like the decisions you make, even though people might not want to admit it. Um, and even music too, like the lyrics. I've just been listening to handpan music too, but
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways,
No, that's very interesting. I think you just go right into that what I shared about the experience. The subtle form of being it was for me now, you know. Um, I felt like the subtle being afraid of being manipulated, wanting to do the right thing. Uh, and now,
yeah,
of course, I don't really watch the movies or so. But if I just watch it as it is, it's like I'm like totally uninfluenced in a way by
that's
that,
good.
uh, having people around me who are not really conscious. What does it do to my manifestation? All of this spiritual ego thoughts. You know what I mean? They're very subtle, but it's
Yeah,
still coming from this kind of like, and then it was charged on top of it with like rejection and anger and bullshit. And now I'm like, wow, everything, the laptop, me, the pet, everything what's around me, it's all Mother Earth, like this body, all of it. I'm
yeah,
like, wait, what? So, what is actually this big play we're in right now? And I sometimes find myself wondering, like, is this an expression of the collective? I don't know why is this happening, but I kind of I found through all of this to seeing, okay, it's based on polarity, it's used for um, divide and conquer and all of this aspects. And then in your example, I guess you just use it as a way you're like, well, okay, there's a marketplace and there's social media. I went totally off of social media, but my social media now is Telegram,
yeah,
and Signal. And I have all people there, and I love sending messages and pictures. And I have a group with my family, and we're sending pictures when we are, when we are not in the same country or so. And it has become a medium for communication and so on. I do like it. Of course, I know that we could be a telepathic civilization, but I guess we're not
yes,
yet there yet all. But in my personal time, I like to hang out in this space,
yeah,
and and then I really appreciate people or you, Connor, so I
yeah,
can actually
absolutely.
talk with somebody
Right back at
about
you.
that, and they're like as weird as me,
Yeah,
according to the yeah. So I think it's both right. Why would I watch something like it when I know they have subliminal messages in there? They have a certain way of how the discussions go. What do they actually
yeah.
say? Um,
There's like a
is there
narrative.
always
Yeah,
drama? And then there are people who say, well, if every movie had like was beautiful with a happy end, nobody would watch it anymore.
I would
You
watch
know,
it.
I would watch it too, like a
Just like a
camera in
nature
the front of a
documentary or
train.
something.
Yeah, it's true.
Be like, this person is taking a walk in nature.
Beautiful.
2 hours later, the end.
The
Like,
end.
he's walking his dog and he's happy. The end. Roll credits.
Yeah, I would
But
love it.
also, I think I do think there are like levels to this stuff
Hmm.
where, like at level one, I do this so much with my brain just automatically organizes these into like levels or groups or something. But like level one is like where we kind of all started, where we just watched stuff and then we were influenced by it. And then level two is like, well, hold on. I don't want to watch this stuff. I don't want to be influenced by it.
Yeah, right.
Like watching the news and being depressed. There's like commercials. Like I was watching. My mom watches the news all the time, and then the commercials are antidepressants. You know, that's something that happens just in America, I guess, where they advertise drugs for prescription drugs. Um, and I'm like, they do that on purpose. You know that, right? But then I think the level three is like where you're so conscious of everything. Like you're conscious of like, okay, there's obviously a narrative, and I don't have to be influenced by it. I know there's like a billion things in the world happening all the time, and they choose to do these things. They choose to report on these or show pictures of this. I don't have to like allow myself to be influenced. I think that's like a level three. Obviously, you don't want to like watch the news as just one example, but you don't want to like expose yourself to this all the time. But if there's like a song playing at the shopping mall or something, you can still like be aware of like, okay, I don't have to be like unconsciously influenced by this. Yeah, I just thought of that. But it looks
Mhm.
like we have about 3 minutes left for our recording. Is there
Okay.
anything else you want to
Well,
conclude with, or
I really like what you said. And then
yeah,
there's this level of being aware of the thoughts of like I don't have to be influenced by it. And all of the thoughts of like, oh, this is this. And even this kind of like falls a little away. Not that
yeah, it's like
thoughts
fourth
are
level
always
meta
there,
stuff.
no kidding. They just, but it's this is even a certain level for me at least where somebody is giving me a narrative from the inside, telling me a story
Yeah,
about this and that. And that's what I meant. Like I kind of how to say? I mean, obviously my parents are doing the same. You know, every time I'm there, they TV is like the main view
yeah,
into the world. They don't have really
yeah,
clue what a browser is, you know, and like they don't really search stuff on the internet. It's like this is like the information channel. And this is also
yeah.
kind of like the topics with their friend don'ts and all of this. So this is kind of like the realm of the experience. And even in there, I'm like, wow, they're living a human life. I mean, come on, it's great, you know, what is experience? And if it's kind of like mostly around having a nice place, nice food, and let's see what the people do on the news. Yeah, even they kind of have their challenges. And just I was just watching something from Ram Dass. My partner, she loves to listen to him once in a while,
Yeah.
and he said something interesting. I just listened to it yesterday. Um, he said he had like this guru, right? Like Maharaji was his name, and he said like he orchestrated everything, all of our lives, every moment of it. We came there and he knew everything, yet he always listened and he pretended that he didn't know anything. And he said, once he said to me that everything, everything a person does, everything, it's all kind of like it's all right like this.
Yeah.
I often felt like, oh, I want to make my parents more conscious or the people who are close to me. Why don't they see? And this fell away. I mean, this because I figured out I cannot have when I start saying like, hey, you know, they do this on purpose with the pills. The discussion which comes afterwards is so bad.
It is,
I
yeah.
mean, it's like annoyance factor 500. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and you know they're never gonna understand it if they don't want it.
Yeah.
Um, and all I want, obviously, as a child, I want to be understood, which then by my partner or other people in my life, and like these layers, they
Yeah.
are also kind of revealing a little bit my ability